3, click. I guess I'm recording. Okay, hello everybody. This is week 11. Making myself smaller because it looks like all the makeup wore off. Uh, week 11, chapter 2, Thursday, and you guys are going to follow along with me today because we had an optional class and you can watch this video instead. So this assignment called Weather is due Sunday night. Pretty sure that it is going to be weather instead of a quiz. This will be your quiz. All right. Also, I've deleted 2 quizzes now, quiz scores, so your grade may have gone up. Hooray. Okay, so click on this. You guys can find this is the week 11 notes. It is linked on through ReggieNet through the class schedule. So go all the way down to the bottom where it says optional class, click on this, follow along, and you're going to follow along with me. The first thing that you need to do is you can watch a bearded version of me teaching this by clicking on this, okay? First thing you need to do is get an API key for openWeatherMap. So I already have one. I didn't do this with the rest of the class. I'm going to just let you guys click on this and sign up for it. And then pause this, and when you come back, you'll have an email with a giant long string of letters and numbers. Pause. Okay, you're back. You have an app ID. An API is an application what does it stand for? Actually, let's look that up. What does API stand for in oil? API. Applications, really? The application program interface. It's been a very, very long day. Okay, so lots of different places that have APIs. The one that we're going to use today comes from openWeatherMap. So you've requested a key, and then at some point, like in a couple of minutes, you received an email with an API key. Now you need to do number 2, get a JSON viewer for Chrome browser. Okay, so you should have something that here, let's see, get JSON viewer for Chrome. Let's do that next. Okay, click on this, and you can install this. You can click on install, and then you will be able to view a bunch of code that we're going to get, and it'll look really nice instead of looking like somebody puked letters on a screen. So good. So go find a JSON viewer for yourself and get it installed. Okay, next, go here and scroll down. Take a look at all the information you can get from openWeatherMap. So what we're essentially going to do is put a bunch of characters in this up here, and those characters are going to return us the climate forecast for 30 days. It can return us historical weather. It can return us all this stuff, okay? And then you guys can go look on Facebook, or probably TikTok, or Blizzard has an API. Somebody in class used that last semester. Google's got APIs, and you can see what kind of information you can get returned from all these different places. So right now, so we did that. Now we're going to build a URL that returns some JSON data. JSON data is cool data that comes back from some sort of engine. So click on this, and yeah, actually, you don't really have to click on that. I have another link. I may change that actually. You can click on this. This is kind of a fake URL, but you guys can see there's this big long URL, okay? And then somewhere at the end of it, there's a question mark. And then there's this Q equals London. That means that you're going to get oh, I'm not supposed to do this. Sorry. That means you're going to get the information that's coming out of London, and then this app ID, that's going to be something that you put in there, okay? But let's click on this right now and see what happens. And if you click on that, then did you guys see just for a second, you saw like a whole bunch of stuff up at the top there? That was before my JSON viewer put it like nicely for me, right? But you guys can see here, look what came from me building this cool URL. I got weather in London. Down here it says London, right? I can find out what the sunrise is today. and the sunset time. And then the wind speed is 4.1 over here, and it's drizzling, it looks like. And what else? Here's the temperature. Oh my goodness, it's very hot in London. That's temperature Kelvin, right? 280. So, all right, cool. And I'm trying to make this really, really fast for you guys. Okay, so here's an actual query line that returns Bloomington data. Okay, so you should use your own API key. Okay, and then you can copy this and paste it in a browser. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys what you should do. Now look, let's take a look at this. This is the actual URL that you're going to use. Here's the question mark, and then if you write zip equals your zip code, comma US, you're going to get you get the weather from that zip code. Okay, then you have to swap out this. This is my app ID. Okay, so you're going to swap that out. So here's what you'll do. You'll copy all that, okay? And I did Command or Control C. And then I'm going to open up a new window, and then I'm going to paste it in here, okay? And what I want you guys to do is put your app ID in here, okay? And it didn't work for the first couple of times people were using it. You may have to wait about 15 minutes or so for your app ID to become active, okay? But when you do this right, and then you hit enter, you're going to see, ooh, it's the weather in Bloomington, because 61701 is Bloomington. Look at the bottom, you can see Bloomington. Cool. It's 30 degrees right now, and it's 86 humidity, and the wind speed is 21.92. So the reason it's giving me not Kelvin, it's giving me Fahrenheit, is because I added this units equals imperial in there. And I got this from reading the directions on the API. So if I want the weather in Champaign, I know that's 61820. So I can just change that up there. Okay, and then look, it says Champaign down there. So you can go through, you can put a different zip code. Earlier today we were looking to see if it would say fire in the zip code that was in California. We didn't find the fire zip code, but you guys might be able to do that. So the next thing that we're going to do, now that we know that we can get JSON returned here, is we're going to load this into a variable, and then we're going to parse it so we can get this number out. Then we're going to try to print out the temperature and the humidity and I think we did in the wind speed. Okay, so this is all going to end up being put in a variable called weather, and if you do weather dot chord dot long, you'll get this number, whatever came out there. If you do weather dot weather with a square bracket 0 dot ID, you'll get that. Okay, what we want is the temperature, so we're going to do weather dot main dot temp, and that will give us a 31.14. I'm telling you guys how you're going to parse stuff. Okay, weather dot wind dot speed is going to give us the wind speed, and for the humidity it will be weather dot main dot humidity. I think I have this all in our notes too. So let's take a look and see if we can find that. Yes, even in the notes. So weather, because we put this into a variable called weather. So weather, yeah, let's just go straight to the end here. So here's what you guys are going to have to do in order to turn something in today. We're going to start with this code below and take out the X's and add your own app ID, and then we're going to modify the code so it prints out 3 weather data. So grab this code to here, all right, and go in Atom, and let's make something called weather 1, or make one called weather. Mine's called weather 1 because you guys can see I already have weather there, right? Okay, paste. This one really, you can use some of the other stuff that you have in your Week 11 folder. If you have a Week 11 folder, you don't really need an assets file here or anything like that. You just need your normal index and a sketch.js, and I pasted this in here. Now my app ID here, I got to change to the one that I have. So mine is this. I'm going to just copy this whole line here. Okay, paste. Oh my goodness, what did I do? I need that bottom line there. Okay, so just paste your app ID in here. Then actually right now you should be able to run this. If you save it and you do open in browser here, that's what I'm going to do, open in browser, you should run it and it should just say we have weather. Yay. But look at this. Click on inspect, because in this code, here's the code. Let's look at this again. In the code I have console.log data. So it's going to print out the weather data. Okay, let's take a look really quickly at this code. There's a bunch of variables, just create canvas. This is the string that we're going to concatenate. This is going to be the first part of the string, and this is going to be the second part of the string. And we put that into this load JSON command. And this is a callback. This is your first callback that we've had in this class, I think, maybe one of the first. What this means is that when this information comes back, it might take like a minute for it to come back from HTTPS API openWeatherMap. It might take a while, okay? We're going to go straight from the setup to the draw function, right? But I want to also get this weather data in. It might take a while, so I've got this thing called a callback, and it's going to run this got data, this right here, as soon as the information comes back. So when the data comes back, it's going to stick it in this variable called weather, and we're doing console log on the data, so we're printing it out. Okay, and then what's going to happen is we're doing setup, and then it's going to go straight to draw. It's going to switch my state. It's going to hang out here in case 0 until we get weather. Once we get weather, it's going to go to case 1, and we'll be here, case weather. And so right here is where we're going to parse the weather object and put some text in, text commands in. So let's take a look. I have to look. I just got a message here. So let's take a look here in the console and look at the weather data here. So actually, if you write down weather, it's taking me a while. If you type weather, that's what came back. So it's kind of the same thing that I printed out up here. If I want to print out the temperature, I'm going to have to parse this. It's going to be weather dot, not clouds, weather dot main. It's like going into folders, one of your fellow students said. So weather dot main dot temp is going to give me that number. Looks like it changed. Okay, so weather dot main dot temp. So let's go back down here and text. The temperature is, and then plus, and then I said weather.main.temp. Cool. I have to put a comma there because this is a text command. Remember, it needs parameters. It needs to know where it's going to be. So I'm going to put it at x equals 20 and y equals 40. All right, that might be our first thing here. Let's see if it works. The temperature is 30.74. Cool. Okay, the other thing I said to get out of here was the humidity. So that I also found in main. Humidity is 86 right there. All right, so that would be so that would be weather.main.humidity. Okay, and then to get the wind speed, it's going to be weather.wind. See how this one was this main area here is like the folder with the stuff in it. To get the wind speed, I've got to go .wind.speed. Okay, so let's try to remember that. One was main.temp, the other was wind.speed. And I'm going to copy this line. My computer is lagging. Okay, so the humidity is weather.main.humidity, and I'll put that at 60. And then what was the other one? I said the wind speed. Wind speed is weather dot, and that one was, I'm trying to remember. I don't remember. Weather dot wind dot speed. Weather dot wind dot speed. So very easy to use JavaScript to parse Java JSON, JavaScript notation. Well, let's see if this works. There it all is. Now, for the assignment, I asked you to do something with these numbers, not just print them out. Okay, so we have a temperature. We can use that for a variable for the side of a, where's me? See myself talking to you guys again. We can use the temperature for the side of a box. That would kind of make like a thermometer, right? And we can use the wind speed as a velocity to make a cloud go across the screen, right? And then you could use these numbers in your MP4. You can incorporate a game. You can put weather data in a game. So let's see how to do that. So in here, still in the same thing, let's make an ellipse for a cloud, right? So fill white, nice fluffy white cloud. I can be Bob Ross. Here, let's make this black up here. So like all of our information is in black, and then we'll make this ellipse. Okay, I don't really remember how to make an ellipse, but I know I can just do 100, comma 100, comma 100, comma 100. That'll make a big white ellipse, right? So, oh, there's an ellipse. There's my ellipse at 100, comma 100 down, and then it's 100 wide and 100 long. Okay, I know I can do that. That's cool. Okay, pat myself on the back. Now let's see. If I actually want this to look elongated, so I should make it maybe 200 wide and 100 tall, and I don't want it to overwrite, like this 100 is like up here, it was overwriting all my text here, right? So I'm going to put it down really low. Looks like my canvas is 400 tall, so maybe I'll put this at 300. No, I'll put it at 250 even. Let's see if that looks better. And actually that stroke around it looks stupid, so I'm going to write no stroke. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, that looks better. So now we want that cloud to move across the sky depending on the wind speed. We want the wind speed to be its velocity. So how do we do that? Well, how do we make it move across the sky anyway? How do we make it move across the screen? Remember, that means we want its x location to be variable. Hey, look, I have a variable x. All the way at the top here, I'll do var x equals 0. And you guys remember this, x equals x, well, plus 1 for right now. If x is greater than width, x equals 0. That ought to move the cloud across the screen. Let's make sure. So notice how I always check after I write any code at all. Yay, it's moving across the screen. Okay, now if I want to use, so this is its velocity, right? That 1 is its velocity. And, I don't know if this will work here. Hopefully that didn't mess everything up for you guys. It's, I want to use the velocity instead, so I'm going to use weather.windspeed instead of 1. So remember, that was like 20 something. In fact, I think I'm going to make a variable called that and set it equal to it in here too. Right? I'm going to, so var ws for wind speed, and then here in got data, after I've got data, I'm going to go ws equals weather.wind.speed. And here's where I'll use it, ws. Okay, that's going to make it go really, really fast, right? Because it's 20, it's like adding 20 to it. Okay, it's really windy out. So just mapping the wind speed straight to a velocity is probably not the best idea. It's going too fast. It doesn't really give me an idea of how windy it is outside. It's really not that windy. It's kind of like, right? So what I'm going to do is scale this number, this data that's coming in. And the easiest way to do that is just, it's 20, like I kind of want it to go across like maybe like around 8, like I want it to be x equals x plus 8 or something like that, or x equals x plus 10 when it's 20. So I can just stick a divider there and just scale it by 1/2. That'll make it go a little bit slower. It'll make it make more sense. So when the wind speed is 0, that's still pretty fast, right? That's kind of, it's a little too fast. So maybe I'll divide it by 3. This is like my artistic choice, to divide the wind speed by 3 and make that its velocity. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so let's see how that looks. Yeah, it's a little slower. That's nicer, okay? And then you guys can add more ellipses. You know, this could actually be an object, and you could have, you know, just instead of one ellipse, you can have a couple others attached to it, right? And then you make a big puffy cloud. You can have a whole bunch of clouds or something like that. You can decide how many clouds to spawn depending on the humidity. You could spawn 86 clouds. Look, see, the humidity is 86 right now. Or you could decide to spawn half of that many. You can use that in your for loop. All kinds of things that you can do here. So the last thing will be to make a box on the right side of the screen that'll be red, and it'll be a thermometer. So let's do that. So fill red. We'll make a nice box that is rect. And then for its X location, I want it to be almost all the way to the side. So that'll be width minus, I'll do width minus 40. Okay, that'll be like 40 pixels away from the side. So it's 400 by 400, so it'll be 40 pixels in from the 400 side. Okay, I want it to start at the bottom because I want the thermometer to go up, right? So the bottom here would be height, I'll say height minus 10. There. Then for how wide I want the thermometer to be, I'm going to make it 30 pixels wide. Now here's the thing, how high do I want it to be? I want it to be dependent on weather.main.temp. So I'm going to add another variable, var temperature equals 0, and then I'll do temperature equals weather.main.temp there. And then I'll use that. What did I call it? Temperature. Awesome. That's the height of the box. Let's see, is it? And awesome, it's really cold. Oh, there's one thing that we need to do that changes this a little bit. Okay, remember it's 30 degrees, right? 30.74. That's not really 30 pixels. What it's doing, it's drawing it down. It's drawing it upside down, right? Because they always draw from the top left-hand corner. So in order to fix that, there's a real easy fix. Just put a negative sign there. So it'll be the opposite. It'll draw it up instead of down. Here we go. Let's try that. Yay. Awesome. And so that's 30 degrees. And when it gets to be 100, it'll be this tall. Probably, right? It's 100 degrees outside. Maybe I want that to go all the way to the top. I showed this in class. I showed this would be a great, like if I want the temperature to range from 0 to 100 here, and this outside is really 0 to 400, right? You can use the map command. Map command's great for this. So I'm going to just make a temporary variable, a local variable called temp, TMP. And then I'm going to use this map command. TMP equals map. I'm mapping what's coming in as temperature. And I know temperature is going to go between, in Illinois, it's going to go between like -10 and 100 maybe. Actually, maybe I only care to map it between -10 and 90. And then I want to map that from like 0, from like if it's -10 out, I want it there to be like 2 pixels. And if it's 90 out, I want it to be like huge. I want it to be the whole height of the screen, right? So that's like 400. Oh, well, I'll just write height there. Maybe I'll write height -10. So if it's 100 degrees, it'll go almost all the way to the top, -10 pixels. That is what the map command is for. So here, our output of the map is this TMP. I'll put that there. That is using the map command. Looks like I have to go trick-or-treating now. Okay, cool, 30 degrees. That doesn't look totally right. So, oh yeah. No, I guess it's right, or close to right. All right. Uh, Great. So, a couple of different things you can do. Now what you got to do is you got to save this, and you've got to do this, right? Stage all, and put a message in here, adding weather 1. Commit to master, and push. That will push this up, and use that URL and put it into the week 11 assignment, and you are finished.